The most controversial game of 2026, Marathon, is now a month old, and what a roller coaster it has been. When I first played this game, I'll admit that it didn't impress me at all. While the game felt good, it just didn't really have much to it that was intriguing to me. Especially coming off of the high that was Arc Raiders. I was expecting a bit more from it, but it just didn't click with me. But something happened after playing it for a while. Some weird chemical reaction was brewing in my brain molecules. It's like this game was a slow-acting drug that takes hours and hours to kick in, and boy, when it did kick in, it felt like a dose of pure crack. That's when I realized this game had its hooks in me. For the past month, it has been non-stop marathon. Every day I was literally running a marathon with this game. It took over my life and wasn't letting go of me. After nearly 200 hours, the honeymoon phase has definitely worn off and I'm not nearly as addicted to it, but I'm happy to say that my thoughts on the game haven't really changed much since the honeymoon. The reality is the game is really fucking good. I'm not going to give it a score right now. I do intend on doing a full review before this season ends, but my god, has Bungie cooked a 5-star Gordon Ramsay level meal here. It has been surprising as hell to me and everyone else playing. Now I know there's still a loud minority out there of people trying to bash on the game even a month after launch, but the verdict is out, and for me, it's no secret that this game is a gem. The gameplay loop is quite engaging. You have 6 factions in which have their own quest lines, stories, and upgrades which serve as the main progression of the game. Go into a run, complete a quest, gather materials required for upgrades, exfil, get your quest rewards, unlock upgrades that either enhance your abilities or unlock items in the shop, rinse and repeat. The loop is really addicting. There's always something you need to get and another upgrade waiting to unlock. And a lot of the upgrades are quite game-changing, so it's not like you're just trying to unlock it just for the sake of unlocking it. There's a very clear and noticeable climb through progression that you feel as you're going up. The way this game handles the factions and quests is a stark contrast to the quests Arc Raiders offer, which feel like they were just AI-generated quests that serve no purpose other than just being busy work. I'm going to try not to bring up Arc Raiders, but it's worth comparing these two because they're the newest and biggest extraction shooters to have come out in the last 6 months. And while Arc Raiders was wildly more successful than Marathon, there's quite a lot of things Marathon just dunks on Arc Raiders with. The questing is a big one, but I'd argue the biggest aspect Marathon excels at that Arc Raiders has been lacking in since launch is progression. Progression in any game is such a core aspect of what keeps you engaged, especially with the game that you're going to be spending so much time in. Marathon has nailed it, and it's the main reason why it keeps me coming back. Now, even with all these positive things that I have to say about Marathon, it's not without its flaws, of course. The first thing I want to talk about isn't even really flaws, but rather just small gripes. Some consumables and weapon chip mods just feel like filler. For example, the OS debug consumable has one of the most obscure uses in this game that I just have to question its existence. You see, sometimes you get hacked and your screen turns into pixelated puke for a little bit, then your abilities are unable to recharge for some time. It's essentially a debuff. When this happens, you're supposed to use the OS debug consumable to cure it, but after 200 hours, I swear this shit rarely happens to me. So as a result, I just never bring it in, because why would I waste any backpack space on a circumstance that has less than a 1% chance of happening? And usually when it does happen, it's not like you really need the consumable anyway. I just don't see the point of having this debuff in the game if it's so rare, and most of the time nobody is going to bring the consumable in to cure it. Another gripe I have is with some of these chip mods. A lot of them are so circumstantial that I end up selling a bunch of them. There's only a handful of really good ones, and I get there's going to be some good ones and some great ones, but can we at least have more that are worth keeping? Like take this one for instance, Ornithologist. It says, after aiming down sights for a brief duration, projectile impacts create a distracting bird call? What the fuck? I mean, I guess on paper this one sounds like it could have potential on a sniper, but this is the most useless chip mod I have used. The idea is that the sound of birds is going to distract the enemy player, but if you're in the middle of a gunfight, people are going to be more focused on where the shots are actually coming from, not from birds moving. It's ridiculous. Now to get to some real frustrations, and it's the meta. Coming from Destiny 2, Bungie has always infamously been unable to balance shotguns. They are the most crutch weapons in PvP. It's no different in Marathon, and this son of a bitch right here is Satan's cock. The power withheld inside these two barrels can take down any player who dares to walk in front of it. Now look, shotguns are meant to be a high-powered weapon at close range and should be able to quickly down a player. And I do not envy any game designer who has the task of balancing shotguns. I imagine it's the most challenging weapon to balance in any game. In Marathon, you do find yourself fighting in a lot of close quarter engagements, and if you don't have the double barrel, you're shit out of luck, because you can bet your ass at least one person on the other team has one, ready to blast your ass back to the main menu. So you basically have no choice but to use this weapon if you want to stand a chance, especially in higher end content. Another weapon that is basically a crutch is the Bully SMG. So the meta loadout right now is the Bully SMG and Waster shotgun, which as a result makes a lot of other weapons severely lacking in viability. I feel like every weapon should have a fighting chance when used correctly. For example, the Volt SMG can be really good. It has tracking shots so you can always hit your target. It's a Volt weapon, so it shreds through shields, but there's one problem. I piss faster than this shit shoots. Trying to use this thing competitively is just hindering to the overall experience, and a lot of other weapons fall to the same issues. Trying to compete against the meta with other weapons is challenging, and there really isn't a reason to go against the meta. Basically have no choice but to join it. It's a PvP game, and there's always going to be a meta, but right now, these two weapons definitely need some tuning. Another big frustration for me is doing crew fill. Obviously, going in with a pre-made crew with everyone on the same page is going to give you an advantage over other crews that are just match-made together. But I have such bad luck with match-made crews that it just feels like I'm risking too much doing it. I'll get a really good kit together, lots of meds, utilities, a blue shield, I'll match-make, and what do you know? I find myself with 2 free kits, and by that point I might as well start kissing my loot goodbye. Free kits in this game are absolutely terrible at this state because most other players have a plethora of blue shields and purple shields. So going up against anyone when you got a free kit on your team is an instant death sentence. I just wish matchmaking would try to match you with other people who have a similar kit to yours, because it's such a gamble bringing in good gear. Some minor frustrations are more UI based. For example, all the implants look the exact same. Forcing you to hover over each one to see what it is has become such a pain. Usually Bungie is really good with UI in this regard. Destiny 2 has hundreds of perks, and each one has a distinct icon, so you can quickly look at a weapon and instantly know what perks they have without having to read through each one. I'm certain at some point they're going to update this, but the fact that this made it through testing is mind-blowing to me. Now I want to briefly talk about the community for this game. The player base is very passionate, and I love to see it. Engaging within it has been a lot of fun. When the community is this passionate, it makes the game feel so full of life, and it's pleasant to be part of a community that isn't full of toxicity and elitist mindsets, especially the fact that this is a competitive game. Of course, there's still going to be those few posts you see on community boards that are pretty elitist, basically calling everyone who has any issues bad at the game, which is just laughable. While the community is very alive, it's worth mentioning that player numbers aren't as high as they should be. A lot of haters of the game spend way too much time studying the Steam charts. It's practically become a full-time job for them. While the numbers aren't amazing, it's also really not as bad as people are making it out to be. This is far from a flop and being a dead game, but ideally I think the game really should have launched with over 100,000 players. As long as Bungie continues to nurture this game and have faith in its longevity, I think there's going to be a resurgence in the future and win a lot of new players over. What matters most is they keep updating this game in the direction it needs to head into. They can't really afford any major mistakes. At this point in time, I do foresee the game to be going strong in about a year. The community is here, ready to continue playing it, and it's ultimately up to Bungie to keep the fire going. For a game that had everything going against it, Marathon has been a great surprise for me. I never once had any expectations of this being as good as it turned out. I thought maybe at best it would be a solid game, but Bungie has come out swinging hard. I'm 200 hours in and I don't even have all the upgrades unlocked. There's still a few weapons I've yet to get, and of course there's the final boss in Cryo Archive. The gameplay loop is addicting, rewarding, and extremely replayable. There's always something you need to get or do. The PvP is extraordinary, but currently the meta is really frustrating, which is holding down the PvP experience a bit in higher end content. The endgame map of Marathon, Cryo Archive, as I mentioned earlier, is one of the most challenging experiences I've ever played in any game, so I'll admit I haven't gotten too far into it. Overall, I'm having a blast with Marathon. We're just a month into the game, so there's lots of room for updates, and time will tell if Bungie can keep the momentum they currently have with it. Fingers crossed they don't fuck it up. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think of the game in the comments. It's always interesting to hear different perspectives. But anyways, thanks for tuning in to this late night transmission coming from Neptune. Have a good night.